I was 13 when I first learned that family loyalty meant covering up someone else's mistakes. That day, I watched my little brother Lincoln crash his dirt bike into Mr. Peterson's brand new Mercedes, then run away crying while I stayed behind to face the music. My name is Alea, and I've spent the last 20 years being the responsible one. Just sign here, sweetie. Mom slides the thick stack of loan documents across the mahogany dining table, her perfectly manicured nail tapping the signature line. It's a formality. You know Lincoln would do the same for you. I resist the urge to laugh. Lincoln has never done anything for anyone except himself. What exactly am I guaranteeing? I ask, though I already know. My brother's latest venture, a cryptocurrency app targeting elite influencers, needs backing. And since his credit is shot from his last three failed startups, guess who they're turning to? It's just 2 million, Lincoln says casually, as if he's asking to borrow $20. He's wearing that $1,000 blazer I've seen in his Instagram posts, probably bought with investor money. The app's going to be huge, Alea. We've got partnerships lined up with $2 million. I set down my wine glass harder than intended. That's not just anything, Lincoln. Dad clears his throat from the head of the table. Your mother and I would do it ourselves, but with the market being what it is. What your father means, Mom cuts in smoothly, is that we're asset rich but cash poor at the moment. And you, darling, have that wonderful credit rating from your boring little lawyer job. The way she says boring makes my teeth clench. 20 years of careful saving, living below my means, building a reputation at my firm, all dismissed in a single word. I can't risk my entire financial future on risk. Lincoln's laugh is sharp. Come on, sis. When have I ever let you down? The memories flash rapid fire, bounced rent checks, borrowed credit cards, tearful phone calls at 3 a.m. to bail him out of trouble. But saying no isn't an option. It never has been. I'll need my lawyer to review the documents first, I say carefully. Mom's smile tightens. Kyle? Oh, honey, that's not necessary. Our family attorney has already vetted everything. Kyle reviews it, or I don't sign. A tense silence falls. Lincoln fidgets with his Rolex, probably also bought on credit. Dad suddenly finds his plate fascinating. Fine, Mom says finally, but we need this done by Friday. The investors are waiting. I gather the documents, already mentally composing a text to Kyle, and to Paris, my cousin who works in tax law. They'll help me add what I need to add, bury it deep in the legal language where my family never bothers to look. You're the best, sis. Lincoln bounds over to hug me, reeking of expensive cologne. I knew I could count on you. Of course, I smile, patting his back. What else are big sisters for? Later that night, I sit in Kyle's office, watching him read through the papers. Paris perches on his desk, frowning at the numbers. They're really putting everything on you, Paris says quietly. Again. Kyle looks up, his expression grim. We can add protection clauses, but Alia, are you sure you want to do this at all? I think of Mom's subtle manipulation, Dad's passive enabling, Lincoln's entitled confidence that I'll clean up his messes forever. 20 years of being the responsible one, 20 years of watching them take and take and take. Add the strongest clause you can, I tell him. Make it ironclad, make it hurt. They won't read it, Paris warns. You know they never do. I smile, remembering all those childhood moments of covering up, taking blame, staying quiet. I'm counting on that. 3 days later, I'm back at my parents' dining table. The documents are spread out, my family hovering as I sign page after page. Lincoln's already texting his investors. Mom's planning a celebration dinner. Dad's pouring champagne. None of them notice the extra pages Kyle slipped in. None of them see Paris's careful amendments. None of them read the clause that gives me complete control over asset seizure in case of default. I signed the final page with a flourish, my signature neat and precise, the same signature that will destroy them when the time comes. To Lincoln's success, Mom raises her glass. I raise mine too, meeting Paris's knowing gaze across the table, to getting exactly what we deserve. Have you seen his latest post? Paris's text comes with a screenshot of Lincoln lounging on a private jet, champagne in hand. See, Crypto King, blessed life, Serge, success. I close Instagram before I can see more. It's been 8 months since I signed those papers, and Lincoln's spending has only gotten more outrageous. Your brother's doing so well. My mother's weekly calls always start the same way. Did you see the write-up in Tech Weekly? They're calling him a visionary. That's nice, Mom. I shuffle through the stack of financial reports Paris secretly forwards me. User numbers dropping, investor complaints, missed payments. We're hosting a celebration dinner next week and the app's 1-year launch anniversary. You'll come, won't you? I think of the latest email from Kyle, 3 missed loan payments and counting. I have a big case that weekend. You always have a case. Her voice turns sharp. Lincoln's disappointed you haven't been more involved after everything he's done for. I have to go, Mom. Client calling. I hang up before she can guilt me further. An hour later, Paris appears in my office doorway with coffee and a grim expression. You need to see this. She slides a document across my desk. It's a notice from the bank, second warning for missed payments. He's burning through cash faster than they can raise it, Paris says quietly. The influencers he partnered with? They're jumping ship. The app's downloads have flatlined. I take a sip of coffee, remembering Lincoln's voice the day I signed. It's going to be huge, Alea. Trust me. My phone buzzes. A text from Madison, Lincoln's girlfriend. Can we meet? It's important. Paris reads over my shoulder. Think she knows? About the money? Probably. She manages their social accounts. I text back a quick yes. The trendy cafe where we meet is exactly Madison's style. All chrome and overpriced lattes. She's wearing designer everything, probably bought with company funds. Lincoln's lying to everyone, she says without preamble. The numbers, the partnerships, everything. It's all smoke and mirrors. Why are you telling me this? Madison glances around nervously. Because I saw the loan documents, your name's on everything, and when this crashes, she leaves the sentence hanging. My phone buzzes again. Mom sending photos of Lincoln's new Porsche. For all his hard work, the caption reads. That evening, I'm reviewing documents with Kyle when Paris bursts in. They're planning to move assets offshore. Lincoln just registered a company in the Cayman Islands. Kyle's expression hardens. Time to prepare the enforcement papers. One more missed payment and we can move. I think of all the family dinners I've missed this year, the celebrations I've avoided. Every time the same excuses. Sorry, big case. Working late? Rain check? Really, I've been building this case, gathering evidence, waiting. My phone lights up with a text from Dad. Your mother's planning Thanksgiving. Please come. Family needs to stick together. I remember last Thanksgiving before all this started. Lincoln announcing his revolutionary app idea, Mom beaming with pride, Dad nodding along, me sitting quietly knowing I'd be the one they'd turn to when it all fell apart. Look at this, Paris says, showing me Lincoln's latest Instagram story. He's at a club, spraying champagne. Caption reading, Another $1 million day. Blessed. The next morning it happens. The email from the bank lands in my inbox at 9:03 a.m., final notice of loan default. My hands don't shake as I forward it to Kyle with 2 words. Start now. Paris appears in my doorway minutes later, face pale. They're going to lose everything. No, I correct her, pulling out the enforcement documents we spent months preparing. They're going to lose what was never truly theirs. My phone starts ringing, Mom's number. I let it go to voicemail, then Dad's, then Lincoln's. The messages start flowing in. What's happening with the loan? The bank just called. Answer your phone right now. I text Kyle. Ready? His response is immediate. Papers filed. Bailiffs on standby. No turning back now. One last message comes through from Madison. Lincoln's freaking out. He just tried transferring money to his Cayman account. Too late, I text back. Everything's frozen. I stand at my office window watching the city below. Somewhere out there, my family is realizing that their safety net, their reliable, responsible Alea, has finally snapped. My phone buzzes one final time. Mom again. How could you let this happen to your brother? I type out my response carefully. The same way you let everything happen to me. Then I turn off my phone and wait for the storm. The door to my apartment crashes open so hard it bounces off the wall. Mom storms in, designer heels clicking like angry punctuation marks on my hardwood floor. Fix this. Her voice is ice. Fix it now before the whole city knows. I don't look up from my laptop. The door was locked. Your doorman knows me. She slams her purse down. What I don't know is my own daughter anymore. How dare you let the bank freeze Lincoln's accounts? Let them? Now I look up. I didn't let them do anything. Lincoln defaulted. These are the consequences. Consequences? She laughs, high and brittle. He's your brother. Yes, and this is my life he was gambling with. Again. Dad appears in the doorway, looking older than I've ever seen him. Alea, honey, please. There must be something you can do. There was something I could do. I did it. I protected myself. Mom's face contorts. By destroying your brother's future? They're seizing his cars tomorrow, his investments, everything he's worked for. Worked for? I stand up slowly. You mean everything he borrowed and spent while I carried all the risk? You've always been jealous of him, Mom spits. Ever since he got into community college while I got a full ride to law school that none of you even acknowledged. The words burst out before I can stop them. Or since he crashed Mr. Peterson's car and I took the blame. Or maybe since you made me skip my dream school because we couldn't afford it, right after buying him that Mustang. That was different, Dad mumbles. Why? Because he's Lincoln? Because he's special? Mom steps closer, her perfume suffocating. You will call the bank. You will stop this seizure. You will fix this mess. No. The silence is deafening. What did you say? I said no. My voice is steady now. I'm done fixing Lincoln's messes. A knock at the door makes us all turn. Paris stands there, folders in hand. Am I interrupting? Yes, Mom snaps. No, I say. Come in. Paris slides past my parents, setting the folders on my desk. The bailiffs want to start with the garage tomorrow at 9. They'll need your signature on these. Mom's face goes white. You're helping her? Your own family? Is right here. Paris cuts in, gesturing to me. The family member who's been cleaning up everyone else's disasters since she was 13. Dad steps forward. Princess, please, we can work something out. A payment plan, maybe? The time for that was 3 missed payments ago, I say, picking up a pen. Before Lincoln started hiding money offshore. Mom freezes. What are you talking about? The Cayman account? Paris pulls out another document. We have those records too. You've been spying on him? Mom's voice rises to a shriek. No, we've been protecting me. I start signing the seizure papers, something you should have done years ago. My phone buzzes. A text from Lincoln. Outside your building. Let me up or I swear I'll make a scene. Don't, Paris warns, reading over my shoulder, but I'm already walking to my intercom. Come up, Lincoln. Let's have this out. He bursts in minutes later, designer suit rumpled, eyes wild. What the fuck, Alea? The bank just called about my Porsche. My fucking Porsche. Should have made the loan payments. He lunges forward, but Paris steps between us. Touch her and I add assault to the legal proceedings. Legal proceedings? He looks from me to our parents. What's she talking about? The clause you didn't read? I say quietly. The one that gives me full control over asset seizure in case of default. The one that lets me take everything. You can't. I can. I am. I hold up the signed papers. Starting tomorrow at 9. Mom, he whirls around. Do something. But Mom just stands there, finally speechless, finally seeing what she created, one child who never faced consequences, and one who finally learned to enforce them. Get out, I tell them, all of you. This isn't over, Lincoln snarls. Actually, it is. Paris holds up her phone. I've been recording this whole conversation. Threats won't help your case. They leave one by one, Lincoln first slamming the door, Dad next, shoulders slumped, Mom last, turning at the threshold. When you were born, she says softly, I prayed for a daughter who would make me proud. I meet her eyes. Funny, when I grew up, I prayed for a mother who would make me proud too. The door closes behind her with a final click. Paris touches my shoulder. You okay? I look at the signed papers, thinking of tomorrow, of empty garages and frozen accounts, of years of silent resentment finally spoken aloud. No, I answer honestly, but I will be. Madison shows up at my office unannounced, mascara streaked down her face, clutching a USB drive like it's a lifeline. He's been lying to everyone, she chokes out, not just about the money, about everything. I gesture for her to sit. Paris, who was reviewing documents with me, quietly closes the door. Lincoln dumped me last night, Madison continues. Said I was bad for the company image now that things are getting tough. She laughs bitterly, as if I wasn't the one running his entire social media presence, making him look successful. What's on the drive? Paris asks. Madison's hands shake as she plugs it into my laptop. Everything. Fake invoices, doctored user numbers. He wasn't just mismanaging money, he was committing fraud. Documents flood my screen, spreadsheets, contracts, emails. My stomach turns as I scroll through them. He paid influencers under the table, Madison explains, wrote it off as consulting fees. The partnerships he bragged about, most were fake. He photoshopped the contracts. Paris leans in, her expression darkening. This goes beyond asset seizure, Alea. This is criminal. My phone buzzes. Kyle's calling. I put him on speaker. The bailiff's just finished at the garage, he says. 6 vintage cars, all purchased with company funds. Lincoln's trying to claim their personal assets. They're not, Madison cuts in. I have the purchase orders. He ran everything through the company account, claimed them as business expenses. Silence on Kyle's end. Who am I speaking with? Madison Craig, Lincoln's ex-girlfriend and former social media director, and I want to make a deal. I watch her face carefully. What kind of deal? Immunity? She says firmly. I can prove I wasn't involved in the financial decisions, but I have evidence of everything he did, everything your parents helped cover up. Our parents? Paris asks sharply. Madison nods. Your mom's been helping him hide money for months, moving it between accounts, creating fake consultancy payments. I have the emails. My head spins. Mom's financial background had always been in accounting, but this... Why are you doing this? I asked Madison. Because he used me, she says simply, like he uses everyone, and because she hesitates. Because you're the only one who ever treated me like a person, not just Lincoln's arm candy. Kyle clears his throat. This changes everything. We're not just talking about debt collection anymore. These are federal crimes. I never wanted him to go to jail, I whisper. What did you want? Madison asks. Images flash through my mind. Lincoln's smirking face as he bought another car. Mom's dismissive waves when I voiced concerns. Dad's eternal silence. I wanted them to face consequences, I say finally, real ones for once. Well, Paris says, scrolling through Madison's files, they're about to face the realest consequences possible. My office phone rings, the front desk. Ms. Shaw, your brother's here. He's quite insistent. I can hear Lincoln's voice in the background, slurred and angry. Of course he's been drinking. Send him up, I say, and call security. Have them wait in the hall. Madison goes pale. I should go. Stay, I tell her. It's time everyone's truth came out. Lincoln bursts in minutes later, reeking of expensive scotch. He freezes when he sees Madison. You little bitch, he snarls. What are you doing here? Telling the truth, she says, voice shaking but firm. Something you've never tried. He lunges forward, but Paris is faster, stepping between them. Security's right outside, Lincoln. Think carefully. Fix this, he demands, turning to me. Call off the seizures. Delete whatever lies she's told you, or I swear I'll... You'll what? I stand up slowly. Ruin me? Too late. You already tried that with the loan. Frame me? Madison has proof of everything. Hit me. I gesture to the security camera in the corner. Please try. I'm your brother, he says, like it explains everything, like it excuses everything. No, I reply quietly. You're a criminal, and I'm a lawyer who's about to do her civic duty and report multiple federal crimes. The color drains from his face. You wouldn't. I pick up my phone. Kyle, send everything to the FBI, all of it. Lincoln's knees give out. He collapses into a chair, suddenly looking very young and very scared. Why? He whispers. Madison answers before I can. Because actions have consequences, Lincoln, even yours. Security appears in the doorway. Kyle must have called them. As they escort my brother out, he looks back one last time. Mom and Dad will never forgive you for this. I think of the evidence on my desk, the years of lies, the lifetime of cleaning up his messes. Good, I say, because I'll never forgive them either. Do you have any idea what you've done? Mom's voice crackles through my phone's speaker. The FBI came to our house this morning, our house. I pour myself another coffee, watching the sunrise from my kitchen window. It's been 3 days since Madison's revelations, since I made the call that changed everything. They took our computers, Mom continues, your father's phone. They're calling it a criminal investigation. That's usually what happens when people commit crimes. We are your family, she practically screams it. You don't do this to family. Family doesn't commit fraud. Family doesn't forge documents. Family doesn't... I'm coming over, she cuts me off. Right now. We need to fix this before everyone knows. Don't bother, I tell her. I'm not home. A car horn honks outside. I look down to see her standing by her Mercedes, phone to her ear, staring up at my window. Liar, she hisses, ending the call. Minutes later, she's pounding on my door. I let her in, if only to stop the noise. The country club is already talking, she says, pacing my living room. The board is considering suspending our membership. Do you understand what this will do to our reputation? Your reputation? I laugh. That's what you're worried about? Of course, that's what I'm worried about. We built this family's name over decades, and you're destroying it over what? Money? Over truth, I correct her, over consequences. Consequences? She whirls on me. You want to talk about consequences? No one in this family will ever speak to you again. No more holidays, no more birthdays, no more. Good. The word stops her cold, because every family gathering has been about protecting Lincoln, covering for Lincoln, paying for Lincoln. I'm done. He's your brother, and I'm your daughter. My voice breaks, but that never seemed to matter, did it? She sinks onto my couch, suddenly looking old. Everything we did was for this family. No, everything you did was for Lincoln. My phone buzzes, a text from Paris. Found something big coming up. Minutes later, Paris bursts in, waving a folder. She falters slightly at seeing Mom, but recovers quickly. The trust fund, she says, spreading documents on my coffee table. Grandma's trust fund, the one you always said was going entirely to Lincoln? Mom goes very still. Funny thing, Paris continues, I found the original trust documents. There's a moral character clause. Any beneficiary involved in criminal activity forfeits their portion. That's not possible, Mom whispers. I destroyed those papers years ago. The admission hangs in the air like smoke. You what? I ask quietly. Your grandmother was old-fashioned, Mom says defensively. She didn't understand modern business. Lincoln needed that money for his ventures. So you hid the clause? Lied about the conditions? I protected my son while stealing from your daughter. Paris's voice is ice. Aaliyah was supposed to get half. Under the original terms, she was always supposed to get half. Mom stands abruptly. You can't prove any of this. Actually, Paris pulls out more papers. The trust company keeps copies. They're very thorough and very interested in fraud. You wouldn't, Mom breathes. Like mother, like daughter, I say softly. We both protect what matters to us. You protected Lincoln. I'm protecting myself. If you do this, she straightens her designer jacket. If you pursue this, you're no longer my daughter. I think of all the times I needed a mother, all the times I got Lincoln's defender instead. I stopped being your daughter a long time ago, I tell her. I was just too loyal to admit it. She walks to the door, pausing with her hand on the knob. Your father will be heartbroken. Dad's been heartbroken since you made him choose Lincoln over me 20 years ago. He just never had the courage to say it. The door closes behind her with a quiet click. Paris touches my arm. You okay? No. I pick up the trust documents, years of lies spelled out in legal language. But I'm right, and for once that's enough. My phone lights up with a text from Kyle. FBI wants to meet tomorrow. They're offering immunity deals for cooperation. They'll try to blame you, Paris warns. Say you set Lincoln up, that you planned this. I look at the trust papers, thinking of Mom's admission, of decades of favoritism and fraud, of a family built on lies. Let them try, I say. I've got something they never expected me to have. What's that? I smile, feeling lighter than I have in years. The truth, and I'm not hiding it anymore. Your grandmother would be proud, the trust officer says, sliding the updated documents across his desk. She always said you had her spine. I stare at the papers, at the numbers that should have been mine years ago. Did you know about Mom changing the terms? We suspected. He adjusts his glasses. But without proof of tampering, our hands were tied, until now. Paris sits beside me, taking notes. The trust officer continues. With the criminal investigation and the moral character clause, Lincoln's portion is forfeit. It reverts to you as the other named beneficiary. My phone buzzes. Kyle calling. FBI's done questioning Madison, he says when I answer. She gave them everything. Bank records, forged contracts, even recordings of Lincoln admitting to the fraud. And my parents? Your mother's not talking. Your father? Kyle pauses. He's willing to cooperate. Something in my chest tightens. Dad finally choosing truth over peace. There's more, Kyle adds. We found offshore accounts, multiple ones. Your brother's been hiding money for years. The trust officer clears his throat. That would explain some unusual transfer requests we denied. Your mother tried to move trust funds offshore last month. Of course she did. I signed the final paper making it official. The trust is mine now. Paris's phone chimes. She reads the message and goes pale. Alea, Lincoln's at your apartment with Mom. What? Your doorman texted me. They're demanding to be let in, making a scene. I stand, gathering my things. Let's finish this. 20 minutes later, I step out of the elevator to find Lincoln and Mom in my hallway. They both look terrible. Mom's designer outfit wrinkled, Lincoln's eyes wild. You can't take the trust, he says immediately. I need that money to fix this. Fix what? The fraud? The fake contracts? The offshore accounts? I can explain everything. To the FBI, I cut him off. They're very interested in your explanations. Mom steps forward. Your father's talking to them. Did you know that? He's betraying this family. No, I say quietly. He's finally being honest with it. I'll tell them you knew, Lincoln threatens, that you helped plan everything, that the loan guarantee was your idea. Paris pulls out her phone, still recording Lincoln, still collecting evidence. He deflates slightly, but Mom's not done. What do you want? Money? Is that it? Name your price to make this go away. Make it go away? I laugh. Like you made the trust clause go away? Like you made my college dreams go away? Like you made me go away every time Lincoln needed covering for? I was protecting your son, always your son. I unlock my apartment door. Well, now I'm protecting myself. With my money, Lincoln shouts. No. I turn to face him. With the money that should have been mine all along, the money Mom stole from me to give to you. You bitch, he snarls, stepping forward. Paris moves between us. Remember the cameras, Lincoln. Remember the charges you're already facing. My phone rings, Kyle, again. You need to see this, he says when I answer. We found more accounts, joint ones between Lincoln and your mother. They've been moving money for years, long before the app. I put the phone on speaker, watch Mom's face go ashen. How long? I ask her. She doesn't answer. Since I was 18, Lincoln says suddenly. Since my first business, Mom helped me manage things. Manage things, Paris echoes. You mean commit fraud? Mom straightens her spine. I did what any mother would do. No, I tell her. You did what a criminal would do, and now you're both going to pay for it. We're family, Lincoln tries one last time. Family doesn't steal from family. Family doesn't lie to family. Family doesn't destroy family. I opened my apartment door, but you never learned that, did you? Either of you? If you do this, Mom says, there's no coming back. I think of Dad finally telling the truth, of Paris standing guard, of the trust officer's words about my grandmother's spine. Good, I say, because I don't want to come back. I want to go forward without your lies, without your manipulation, without you. You'll regret this, Lincoln warns. No. I step inside my apartment. I'll regret all the years I didn't do this sooner. The door closes on their faces, on their threats, on their version of family. Paris puts her hand on my shoulder. You okay? Call Kyle, I tell her. Tell him to send everything to the prosecutors, everything. Even the stuff about your mom? Especially the stuff about my mom. I look out my window at the city below. It's time for everyone's truth to come out. The courthouse steps are crowded with reporters. Their cameras flash like lightning as Lincoln is led in, no longer wearing designer suits, but a department store button-down that makes him look smaller, younger. "Ms. Shaw," they shout, "any comment on your brother's plea deal?" I keep walking, Paris beside me, Kyle ahead parting the crowd. Inside, the courtroom is already packed. Madison sits in the front row, hands clasped tightly. Mom and Dad are nowhere to be seen. "Your parents are in the conference room," Kyle whispers. "Last chance to hear their final offer." I shake my head. No more deals. The judge enters and we all rise. Lincoln's lawyer looks nervous, shuffling papers. The prosecutor sits calmly, evidence boxes stacked beside her. "In the matter of financial fraud and criminal conspiracy," the judge begins. But I'm watching Lincoln. He's staring straight ahead, jaw clenched, trying to maintain that arrogant confidence that's always worked before. The door opens. Mom slips in, taking a seat in the back. She's not wearing designer clothes today, just a simple black dress that makes her look her age. "The defendant has agreed to plead guilty to 16 counts of fraud," the prosecutor announces, "in exchange for testimony against other involved parties." A murmur ripples through the courtroom. Mom goes very still. "Including testimony against Victoria Shaw," the prosecutor continues, "regarding her role in concealing and facilitating these crimes." Lincoln finally turns, meeting my eyes. There's no anger now, just something that looks almost like relief. The judge asks him to stand. "Mr. Shaw, do you understand the terms of your plea?" "Yes, Your Honor." His voice cracks. "I do." "And you understand that this will require you to testify truthfully about all parties involved, including family members?" He glances at Mom in the back. "Yes." "Very well." The judge shuffles papers. "This court accepts your guilty plea. Sentencing will be scheduled following your cooperation in related cases." Paris squeezes my hand as Lincoln is led away. He passes close to our bench, pausing briefly. "I'm sorry," he whispers, "for everything." Before I can respond, the bailiff guides him on. Mom stands abruptly, heading for the door, but the prosecutor intercepts her. "Mrs. Shaw, we'll need you to come with us." I watch as they lead her away too, thinking of all the family dinners, all the manipulated moments, all the lies told in the name of protection. Outside, the reporters are waiting again. "Miss Shaw, how does it feel to send your own brother to prison? How did you discover the fraud? Will you testify against your mother?" Kyle tries to hustle me past, but I stop, turn to face them. "I didn't send my brother anywhere," I say clearly. "His choices did that, his actions, his crimes. And yes, I'll testify, because the truth matters more than family loyalty when that loyalty is based on lies." More questions explode, but Kyle and Paris create a barrier, guiding me to the car. As we pull away, I see Dad standing alone on the courthouse steps, looking lost. "He's asking to talk to you," Paris says softly. "Says he has something you need to know." I think of his silence all those years, his passive acceptance of Mom's schemes. "Not today," I tell her. Back at my office, Madison is waiting. "They're offering me immunity," she says. "Full cooperation in exchange for no charges." "Take it," I advise. "Start fresh." She nods, then hesitates. "Lincoln asked me to give you this." She hands me an envelope. "Said it's everything, all the accounts, all the schemes, going back years. Said you deserve to know the whole truth." I open it later, alone in my office. Pages of transaction, names, dates, a family history written in fraud and favoritism. At the bottom, a note in Lincoln's messy handwriting. "You were always the strong one. I was just too weak to admit it." Paris finds me there, staring at the papers. The trust company called. The transfer is complete. It's all yours now. What about the 10% we set aside for you? She smiles. Keep it. Knowing I helped to bring down this house of cards is payment enough. My phone buzzes. A text from Kyle. Your mother's being charged tomorrow. Your father's agreed to testify. Was it worth it? Paris asks quietly. Losing them all like this? I look out my window at the setting sun, thinking of Lincoln's apology, Mom's fall from grace, Dad's final choice to speak up. I didn't lose them, I say finally. I just stopped letting them lose me. The reporters are still outside, waiting for more drama, more revelations, more pain. But up here in the quiet of my office, I feel only peace and strength. My grandmother's spine, finally straight and true. The autumn wind whips leaves across my new front porch as I unlock the door. My house, bought with my trust money, in my name alone. No loans, no guarantees, no strings. Perfect timing, Paris calls from inside. Pizza just got here. She sprawled on my couch, case files spread around her, news playing quietly on TV. The anchors talking about Mom's upcoming trial, showing footage of her leaving the courthouse. Turn it off, I tell Paris. I've seen enough. Sorry, she clicks it off. Hard to escape the coverage lately. Everyone loves a good rich family scandal. My phone buzzes. A text from Madison. Lincoln's doing okay. Started therapy in prison. Asks about you. I don't reply. Haven't replied to any of his messages since the sentencing. Mail came. Parrish gestures to a stack on my coffee table, including that. A cream-colored envelope sits on top. Dad's familiar handwriting on the front. I've been getting these weekly since he moved out of the family home. Haven't opened any of them. Maybe it's time, Paris suggests gently. I tear open the envelope, pull out a single sheet of paper. Dear Alea, I failed you, not just once, but every day for 20 years. I watched Victoria push you aside for Lincoln. I watched her steal your future to fund his schemes. I watched, and I did nothing. I told myself I was keeping the peace. Really, I was just being a coward. The day you were born, I held you and promised to protect you. Instead, I let them hurt you over and over. I chose wrong every time. But you chose right. You chose truth. You chose justice. You chose yourself. I'm selling the house, moving somewhere quiet, starting over, I guess, like you did. I don't expect forgiveness, don't even deserve it, but I want you to know you were always the best of us, the strongest, the bravest, and I was always proud of you. Just too weak to say it. Love, Dad. Paris reads over my shoulder. Wow. Yeah. I fold the letter carefully. Wow. My doorbell rings. Kyle stands there with a bottle of wine and a grim expression. Your mother's lawyer reached out, he says, coming in. She wants to make a deal. Full confession, testimony about other financial crimes we don't even know about yet, in exchange for a reduced sentence. Let me guess. She wants me to support the deal? She wants to talk to you first. He pours 3 glasses of wine. Says there are things you need to understand. I think of all the things I already understand too well, all the manipulations, all the lies, all the times family meant sacrifice. No, I say firmly. No more talks, no more deals, no more chances. Good. Paris raises her glass. To freedom. To truth, Kyle adds. To peace, I finish. Later, after they've gone, I sit on my porch watching stars appear. My phone lights up with a message from an unknown number. The house is sold. Your mother's things are in storage. I kept one thing for you, a photo album your grandmother made, pictures of you as a baby, of us before everything went wrong. It's yours if you want it. Dad, I think of his letter, of Mom's deal, of Lincoln's apology, of all the pieces of a broken family scattered like autumn leaves. My doorbell rings again. This time it's Madison, holding a folder. Last bit of evidence, she says. Records of everything they took from you over the years. Every college fund they drained, every account they emptied. The prosecutors don't need it anymore. Why bring it to me? She smiles sadly. Because sometimes we need to see the whole truth before we can let it go. I take the folder but don't open it. Instead, I text Dad back. Keep the album. Those memories belong to a different family. I'm building new ones now. Madison touches my arm. You okay? I look at my house, my porch, my life. All mine, no strings attached. You know what? I say. I really am. The wind picks up, scattering more leaves. Somewhere in a prison cell, Lincoln's writing letters I won't read. Somewhere in an empty mansion, Mom's plotting deals I won't take. Somewhere in a quiet new place, Dad's holding an album of who we used to be. But here, on my porch, under my stars, I'm exactly who I was always meant to be. Free, strong, at peace. The night grows darker, but I don't feel alone anymore. Some families we're born into, others we build from truth and trust and hard-won wisdom. I finally found mine.